Okay, so you join us. It's after the West Ham game. Now, me and Mikey both went. Jamie, not here at the moment, but also went as well. Tizard, not able to, but we're just going to have a chat, really. We'll probably make it a little bit less structured than normal, just because it was a little bit of a strange game to watch, really. We'll just have a chat for a little bit and just see what we all think. So, Tiz, as you won't, well, me and Mikey obviously saw it in person, but seeing it not at the game and just seeing the overall reports afterwards, what's your reaction to the game?
My reaction is I wasn't too affected by it because as much as I did predict a win, you could see it coming. It's against West Ham. They've got Haller, they've got Antonio, two forwards that we failed to deal with properly the first time, and they had two strikers. You've got a man that knocks it onto a quick, powerful striker that we could never deal against. So every time they scored, I was disappointed. But there's plenty. There's 10 games left in the season to improve on. So I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, I mean the difference to yours not being too concerned, for me, seeing it in person, I was actually quite concerned on how badly we fell apart, especially defensively. We saw clear mistakes being punished by West Ham just when they had the chance, really. I didn't see any over-mounting pressure. It was just things like pressure from a counter-attack from a corner, which is the way they scored plenty of goals the last a couple of games we played them last time as well. So again, another mistake, and Ralph coming out into the press conferences and saying that he's planned for what they were going to do. But again, you highlighted it well on Twitter, the fact that when we're up against two strikers, we seem to fail a little bit. I don't know, not quite what it is. Have you got any idea, Mike? You saw it. What was your overall impressions, and how did the two men up front really affect the game?
They just battered us, didn't they?
Pretty much, yeah.
They absolutely battered us. It felt like a half-assed performance, especially. I think what really showed was the fact that McCarthy had 6'4", so I think he had 2 inches over Haller and his arms to jump and catch that ball, and Haller jumped higher than him and won their header. Yeah, and that sort of just West Ham wanted it, and we weren't bothered. So I think that was pretty much the toll of the game. Yeah.
We were joking at around 70 minutes. I was talking to Mike, and basically Mikey ensued with a stand-up routine. I was talking to you lot about this, but yeah, just because at that point West Ham looked A, so comfortable, B, we posed pretty much little to no threat, and the substitutions were baffling as well. So it got to that point where we almost gone past caring and just kind of disconnected from the game, and everyone around, it was either empty, it was really quiet, but the West Ham stadium is so difficult to try and get an atmosphere going. But did you see it? Did you feel that, Mike? There wasn't. I mean, it's not a footballing stadium, is it?
No, it's not.
It was so strange. Have you ever been, Tiz?
No, I've never been. No.
So you've got a stand as close as possible to the pitch, really, but you've still got that ring around it, which, to be fair, does add a distance to the pitch. It's a very narrow build to the stadium, very kind of. I mean, you think of traditional footballing grounds, they're almost horizontal, aren't they? No, not horizontal, vertical. But yeah, this one's very kind of a shallow incline. And it basically means by the time you get to the back, you're so far away. And problem is as well, the way that you entered into the seats is there's this massive kind of platform where you have the disabled seating around and then a big platform back with these kind of canopies. And that massive gap in between means you could see the bottom tier singing, but you couldn't actually hear them where we were. We were probably about half up on the second tier. And you could see them trying to get the atmosphere going, but just because that pure distance between them, it was just so difficult to get atmosphere. And I think that probably didn't help us trying to get behind the team, and it didn't really work. But then again, you got to say for both ways, I didn't really think West Ham were that loud. I don't know. What do you think, Mike? You were there.
No, I won't. But no. You know, I don't think it's anything. It's not down to atmosphere or anything like that.
No, yeah.
As much as you can get an atmosphere going and everything like that, and it probably does push you. It's not the be all and end all.
It doesn't take away from the result. The result was pretty poor.
The performance was poor. In all fairness, first 20-25 minutes we looked alright, even with conceding the goal. We looked like that there was still something there that we could do.
Yeah.
And I think the second goal just before half time killed the first half. We didn't come back from that. And then first 5 minutes of the second half, I thought was all right. And we looked bright and we looked like we could do something and we could come back.
Yeah.
Third goal killed it. And there was no coming back from that.
No. They all basically came at the wrong time. They got an early goal to get their crowd lifted and exert themselves. Second one became straight before half-time, so completely, especially with a goal just before half-time, it completely ruins the your game plan, doesn't it? So that went, and then the third goal pretty much killed it. So they probably couldn't.
It's not just that. There's not a lot of time to react to it.
Yeah.
For those last 3-4 minutes, no, there was 3 minutes of extra time. So those first, it was like 5-6 minutes. It's very difficult to build something from. But I thought we've started well in the second half, and it's just poor defending again. And the amount of times that we said it's been poor defending or a defensive mistake that's costed us the goal. It's just started to be part of our routine now.
Yeah.
Poor defending.
Was there any particular weakness that you saw on the side, both Tiz or Mike? Because I think I got my ideas, but I'd be interested to see where you thought our potential weaknesses were.
Every time we cleared the ball, it seemed to go back to West Ham. Every single time they cleared the ball, it went to one of their target men.
Pretty much, yeah.
Haller, we somehow make Haller look like a £50 million striker, not a £35 million striker. He just dominates Bednarek and Stevens, and there's nothing. Well, there probably is stuff that they can do. It's just either they can't be bothered or they don't know what to do.
Yeah,
and it just felt like constantly Haller was winning the ball, holding it up, basically doing what Pella used to do, where he'd win the ball, hold it up, and then there would be a flood of the three behind, because they didn't play two up top. They played one up top and a three. So I think Haller was used as the target man, and then they had Bowen, Fornals and Antonio just running in behind straight away, and we're being done over and over on the counter-attack, because instead of it being a 2-on-1, because the three behind were getting forward so quickly, it turned into a 4-on-2. We could not deal with that. And I think it was an intelligent substitution bringing Vestergaard on, because it made that 4-on-2 was going to become a 3-on-2, and we had someone back there as well. And I don't know if that's the way that against these teams that are going to try and counter-attack us and give us the ball, maybe that's a way of breaking that, having a third man back there all the time. I know people are saying that 3 back and 5 backs are negative, but it also means that our full backs pushing forwards, they're a lot more effective because they're not completely defensively needed, because we do have 2 wider centre backs that can fill the hole. So I don't know. I thought the Vestergaard change was interesting considering we were 3-1 down, but looking back at it, it probably was the right thing to do, because it just gave Bednarek and Stevens that little bit of support and that free man that they needed. Yeah,
fair point. And to be fair, if you start up with a 5 back away from home, although it looks a little bit negative, if you think we need to build more into this game, you can bring on a midfielder, try and get more creative in the midfield, and set your back four, which I think we are now comfortable with, but it just wasn't effective against West Ham. And a couple others, to be fair.
No, you keep going, actually.
I was kind of done, to be honest. Okay. Go on.
I understand why people think that 3 back's negative, but tactically it makes sense in that game. Because if we're going to be more on the ball and we're going to be more dominant, and that's something we can't do, then if we're going to be done on the counter, it's better to have the 3 there, already there and planted, instead of having 2 full-backs high up the pitch that I have to track back, 2 centre-backs that aren't very quick and we know can lose men quite easily. They don't concentrate as well and they can't work as well. So having a support there would help as well, bringing in a 3rd centre-back. Defensive midfield, I thought Højbjerg had quite a poor game. I didn't think he was very effective. I thought Smallbone had a good game, but he's not a defensive midfielder.
No.
So they weren't getting back. They weren't positionally sound as well. So it was just leaving our defence so exposed. But having a 3rd one there, tactically, it makes more sense, because then if they do counter-attack, there is a 3rd man there as well, that just to help out, just to support. And in all fairness, I know people joke about his dominance in the air, but Vestergaard has a really good heading accuracy and heading percentage one. He may be 6'6", but that is an advantage that we have to deal with. So if there's a 6'3", 6'4" striker, Vestergaard probably can do it. And I think Carroll's injured for next week, but Jolinton's a big target man.
Yeah.
Maybe play 3 at the back, get Vestergaard on him, because that's.
But are they going to play 2 up front though? That's the thing.
I don't know. I don't know how Newcastle have played.
I don't think they play 2 up front. I think it's just him with Maxim and Almiron supporting.
They play a 5-4-1, I think.
5-4-1. So I think, especially at home as well, I'd hope we can stick with a 4, just because we might slip back into the old ways that we used to complain about. I think it would just be, for me, I think it would be a little bit too reactionary to go to a 5, especially if Newcastle are going to stick with a 1. So, although I can understand the reasoning behind it, if we are going to play a 2, I think I would probably prefer to still stick with a 4. And hopefully we can see, because obviously one thing that hit me as well, you probably thought this as well, Tiz, 2 right-backs on the bench, Ward Prowse still being pulled away from that defensive midfield. I think, again, that proved costly. What do you reckon?
That's the thing, that hindsight is the best thing in football, because you can look back and go, do you know what, that probably wasn't the best decision looking at it. We did miss that creative spark in the midfield, and having 2 right backs on the bench... I don't
think it was a creative spark. I think it was Ward Prowse just covered so much distance that he would help that defence out with those double there. He'd kind of break up the build-up a little bit. And I think he had...
The problem with that, though, is that the hindsight of that is... Look, you looked before the game.
Yeah.
Against Villa, we were fantastic. Smallbone was brilliant. Højbjerg was brilliant. We didn't miss Ward Prowse in that middle bit.
Yeah.
And Ward Prowse had a really, really good game at right back. So what's the point in changing it if they've had a good game? But I understand the fact that now you look back at it and we've got 2 fit right backs on the bench, and there's Ward Prowse probably was missed in the midfield. But looking in before the game, I wasn't worried having Ward Prowse at right back. I wasn't worried the fact that we had Smallbone and Højbjerg because they played well against Villa. I know West Ham probably are stronger, but I thought Smallbone had a good game. I thought he played the ball quite well. He looked confident on the ball.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't take any shots, which I thought he could have had a couple of opportunities to, but he didn't look like he was afraid. He looked like that he wanted to get on the ball and make things happen. And again, hindsight is brilliant because it means that we can look back and go, maybe we did need a right back there. Maybe Ward Prowse was missed.
I think that's true, but we were mentioning it on the preview. In our preview episode, we did bring up the fact that I don't know if it was me, but someone definitely said, if we can play a fit right back, I'd like to see that. And I think, Mikey, you stuck with your same opinion that you did before the game, saying that you want to reward Smallbone. And I think I mentioned that I don't know whether he would do it. And to be fair, he proved me wrong, and he did have a good game away from home, but that was one of my concerns. So admittedly, it was the wrong concern because he did still have a good game, but the concern probably should have been rather with the that overall, like you said, Smallbone probably not great as defence. Then again, he did have a good. It's good. It's off, right?
The thing is, Smallbone had a good game against Aston Villa, but did he have a better game than Prowse would have taken if we had a fit right back? That's the thing. Like, people can have good games, but other players can be better, but that other person still be good. If that makes sense. So if we had Ward Prowse there and then had Walker Peters at right back, maybe, or Value at right back, maybe it would have been a more complete side where everyone knows what they're doing. But what I mean by that is having that energy in the midfield, someone that we know can break up the play on a much more consistent basis and is good at picking out that pass and allowing us to spring forward.
Yeah, but see, that's what, and I know because we're talking about it now a day later, it seems like we're linking it to hindsight, but it's like I said, I think there was those kind of feelings around there before the game started, and especially when I saw the lineup, I think a lot of people were kind of concerned with how this one was going to play out. Now, on paper, you'd say Ward Prowse has, and you can probably, Ralph's Riesling's there thinking if he can pocket Grealish and he can, who else did he have a really good game against? Zaha. Probably, Zaha, if he can do that there, then you probably think against, who was left mid for West Ham? I can't remember.
I think Antonio played on the left.
Yeah. But I think, as a right back, I think Ward Prowse had a...
Was Byrne on the left or the right? Byrne.
Might be.
On the left or the right.
Byrne was on the right, Antonio on the left, and Fornals in behind.
But the thing is, for me, Ward Prowse I think he had a decent game at right back, and there was a couple of chances that he did get the ball, but I just think, although he plays decent at right back, we just miss so much from the midfield when he does go to cover there, so... As a last kind of option, I think it's something to do. But I think even Ralph will now know that I think a right back to allow Ward Prowse into his position where he's been so pivotal for us will be much more beneficial going into the next games. Thanks for watching. This clip came from our latest podcast. If you want to listen to the full version, links to it are in the description. And finally, if you did enjoy the video, please give it a like and make sure you subscribe with the bell on to never miss an upload.